Welcome back. This is the Alex Helton Real Estate Show. I'm Alex Helton. We got Sam Dahl with me. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What are we talking about today, Alex?
Today we are talking about, I want to sell my house. Do I sell it today in the winter or do I wait until the spring?
Okay. Pretty common question. Before you answer that though, when we were prepping for this, you said you had an important confession to make, so I don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah.
Confession for the audience.
Right.
This is your time.
That's fine. So we talked about in the last podcast when we did the market update, when we listened to Christmas music, and I said, I wait until Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving Day is acceptable. After that, it's like totally game on.
Okay.
And
Reasonable. Pretty
reasonable.
We've gotten that response pretty
Yeah.
frequently from people.
I just wanted to let the audience know I couldn't hold out. This weekend I was in the car with the family. It was crisp outside.
Okay.
All the leaves had fallen pretty much, and it just hit me. I asked the kids, "You guys want to hear Christmas music?" I heard a resounding yes, and so we jammed out to some Christmas music. It was good.
Sounds like it's more weather temperature based than it may be like calendar based.
It is.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Christmas season. All right. So speaking of that, it is really the holiday season now.
Yep.
And pretty common, honestly, every year this time of year comes around and we get the question, should I wait until spring to sell my home? There's kind of this general perception that spring is the best time to sell. So someone asks you that, should I wait till spring to sell or should I do it now? How would you answer that?
So the question that I would ask would be to ask it a different way is if you want to sell now, like the question I would want to answer is, assuming you're wanting to sell now, would it be a mistake to list now and not wait until the spring?
Yeah. Should I, if there's some sacrifice involved to the spring, to wait till the spring, is it worth me sacrificing and putting my plans on hold for 3 to 6 months to maximize something out in the future?
Yeah, I think most people think, I probably shouldn't list now, but I kind of want to for whatever reason it may be. But I'm afraid that I'm supposed to wait for, like, maybe there's some good reasons and I need to wait until the spring. So, so that, we can roll into kind of what those reasons are, but that's what I would want to answer instead is, if you want to list today, would it be a mistake not to go ahead and like wait until the spring before you pull the trigger on that?
So what are some pros to the spring, some advantages that do give people the impression that, hey, let's do it in Nashville, probably March, April would be maybe common perception as prime time for putting your listing on the market. Why is that the case?
So generally speaking, twice as many homes sell in the summer, let's say specifically July, versus January. So even if people don't know the numbers, you pick up on just patterns in your life, right? And so if you've been in any kind of market and in adulthood, you probably are just picking up on, man, the summer is when the kids are out of school and my neighbor's moving and my friend just bought a house. And then in the winter, there's half the activity.
Right.
So, you think about, right now, here we are in November 2022, transactions in some areas are down 35%. And even that feels like a big reduction. So that's what people are feeling in the different seasons. And so it does make sense that without being in the business every day and seeing those numbers and selling homes throughout the years, it makes sense that somebody would think the springtime, the summertime is when I sell. That's when homes sell. And surely they sell for top dollar and faster in the winter. They probably just sit around and that's kind of the general.
If I'm driving around my neighborhood, I'm probably seeing a lot more signs in the summer.
Yeah.
Easy to assume, well, this is when other people sell, so it must make sense. It probably is the best time for me to sell also.
Yeah.
All right. So any other, as far as maybe legitimate, hey, spring gives this advantage. Is there anything that comes to mind about spring that would be an advantage?
So what happens in July, so there is an advantage, but then there's also the con. The pro is that there are more buyers, right? So again, here we are in November, we're heading into the holiday season and winter, but this contrast between January and July really helps to kind of illuminate the essence of what we're talking about here. And that is it a mistake to list if I want to go ahead and list? Is it a mistake not to hold off? And so in the spring and in summer, there's a lot more buyers for your home. There's a lot more demand. To your point, what you just said, however, there's also a lot more supply. When I drive around the neighborhood, I'm seeing a lot more for sale signs. So I am competing for those buyers with a lot more people. So there's pros and cons in terms of the market. In other markets, in an area in maybe, north where you get several feet of snow and you literally can't make it, or it's literally so cold you just don't want to leave your house. That's not what we're talking about. But in Nashville, after 15 years in selling homes and working with people and just watching what happens every year, supply and demand go up and down at a similar enough pace that any fluctuations in two things, speed of sale and selling price, are like imperceivable.
We talk about this.
It's not noticeable.
Yeah, every market update, we're talking about supply and demand as kind of the price, what moves the needle on price. So what you're saying is if there's 10 listings in January, there's probably going to be 20 in July. It's probably going to be 10 buyers for those 10 homes in January and 20 buyers in July. So your balance is pretty similar. And there's some fluctuation. But that is also going to mean, I think some people have this impression.
That's a better way to say it. Just there's 10 here, there's 10 here, there's 20 here, there's 20 here. That's if there's 19 here and 11 there, it doesn't move the needle enough to impact the decision if I'm ready to go.
And because of that, I think there's also this impression that in the winter, my home will sell for less. But with that balance of demand, supply and demand, there's not any significant up or down necessarily, and certainly not a pattern of like you're always going to get this % less in the winter. It's pretty similar.
Okay, so are there exceptions?
Tell me some exceptions. I'm guessing there are.
So an exception would be if I have a pool and it's surrounded by gorgeous trees, then that's not going to look good in the spring. And that's not going to look good before the spring when there's no leaves on the tree. It's cold, so nobody is thinking, man, I'd love to be in a pool today. So if I have a home with a pool and the land, in other words, the exterior is what I want to is what I want to consider. I don't know that it would be so much that, like, if I'm just in if I'm in a neighborhood where most of the homes are similar, then that's okay. We're on a level playing field. But if I have a pool, or if I live on a piece of land where the landscaping and just everything on the exterior is such that in the spring and summer, it's like that's really what maybe people are buying, then I either want to take that into consideration and maybe I hold off, or two, if I know far enough in advance, then maybe in the spring and fall, I'm going ahead and I'm getting the photos, the videos, I'm doing everything on the exterior so that can at least be highlighted and seen when I go to list in the winter.
Yeah. So as far as your experience, what's your experience been? Like, that sounds good. The math works out, so to speak, on what we've been saying. But what's your actual experience been?
It's a good saying. I like that.
When it comes to listing and selling homes during this time of year, November, December, even in January.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
I have seen that. I can just remember vividly one year. It was early on, and I don't know that I had enough.
Early on in your career?
Early on in my career. So this is year, 2, 3, maybe 4. I don't know that I had been in the business enough and known enough up to that point, to have a handle on things and or to really experience it and see it for myself. And I remember that year we listed a home the week before Thanksgiving, and we closed on it the week after Christmas. And it was like, man, if there's any example of the math works out, it's this. And I was surprised myself. And then it seems like year after year after year, I know for our team, December oftentimes has been oftentimes one of our months of the year where we've got the most amount of people moving, which is even surprises me sometimes. So just seeing that, I have put to rest, like in my mind, there is no, again, with very rare exceptions, would it be a mistake to list today in the winter instead of holding off into the spring? There's going to be rare exceptions. And again, I'm answering the question, hey, I'm ready to move. Am I making a mistake by listing today instead of holding off? Really rare that the answer would be yes. I mean, there are exceptions, and we've probably had a couple over the years, but generally speaking, no.
Yeah, and there's individual situations like we talk about often where we may meet with somebody in November and then talk through the situation, and it makes sense to list in the spring for other reasons, to wait for other reasons. One of
those other reasons, just real quick, would be the other side of that would be the assumption is if I'm listing today and I'm moving, let's say I'm staying in town, I'm seeing inventory out there on the market that I could envision myself living in. Mm-hmm. So that would be another thing. If I see nothing, maybe I just hold off to wait for additional inventory if I have consulted with my realtor and I feel confident that inventory is going to show up.
Sure.
The challenge would be, I just entered the market today. I don't know what's been selling, and I'm just hoping that something's going to show up. Mm-hmm. That's not a good strategy. But if you can look at what is sold over the last 6 months, okay, there's a handful of homes there that are a pretty good indication of what's likely to pop up. And those, I could see myself being in those. That would be a good reason.
Yeah. So like you said, there is typically more inventory in the spring. So if you need more options, maybe wait till then. But with the knowledge that you're going to be competing against more buyers for that home at the time. So be ready to make a strong offer. And then obviously, like the same principles we've talked about in the past, pricing right and preparing right. So what I think I don't know if it's a common mistake or not, but let me ask you, if I'm selling right now, should I put up my Christmas tree?
No.
Get my wreath on the door? Put up my little nativity set?
You should if you can remove them for the photos.
Okay. So you don't want Christmas photos is what you're telling me?
No.
Okay. Why? I love my Christmas tree. This is my favorite time of year, and it should be everybody's favorite time of year. They should love my Christmas tree as much as I do.
Then I would say if you really love it that much, then you should probably enjoy it and hold off until the new year to list.
Okay.
Seriously, call me when you're done. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it that much, don't worry about it. But if you really want to move now and you're open to removing those things, let's go ahead and remove them, get the photos done. Or let's get the photos done, then you can add them. It's okay that they're there for showings because naturally they're going to be removed. Mm-hmm. The downside would be if for some reason as I'm thinking about this, honestly, if we're doing what we need to be doing, it's probably okay because our home's probably going to be under contract within 3 days to 30 days. Mm-hmm. If it goes beyond that for whatever reason, then it just ages the photos and it doesn't give a good impression.
People don't want to look at a Christmas photo in February.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is kind of a really big picture staging rule would be declutter, depersonalize. It's kind of the baseline. Your personal Christmas decorations may not resonate with someone else as well. So if it's not burdensome to minimize some of that stuff, it's probably better to help buyers envision themselves living in the home with their stuff. So any last things you want to say about listing in the winter, in the holiday season versus waiting till spring?
No, I think that's it. So if you have found this valuable, we'd love having conversations about real estate. And if you are considering a move or investing in the next year, give us a call, reach out to us. We'd love to, chat with you about what's going on in your world and kind of what you're wanting to do. So reach out to us anytime. Appreciate you joining us. Any parting words? Did we miss anything?
No.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The math works out. See you guys.